This is The Tea Project with your host, Gadiel and Michelle, a husband and wife duo where they will be discussing personal finance, managing a household, and so much more. Gadiel is a father, husband, a military veteran, and a lawyer. Michelle is a mother, wife, boss. Each week, they will be providing you with fresh and valuable content, so stay tuned. And now, welcome to The Tea Project.
Hey folks, welcome to another overdue episode on Money Talks on Tea Project.
Hi everybody, long time no listen.
Long time no hear.
No here.
It's been a while, folks. We have recently moved, which is why we haven't published another episode since a month. But before that month, we haven't really published anything like a month prior to that because we had relocated temporarily.
We're on hiatus.
We're in hiatus. No, actually, we relocated out of Dade County. Now we're in the Pasco County. It's a county in Florida, Central Florida. And so we went through that process, for personal reasons. One being COVID-19 is really affecting Miami-Dade County very bad. That's one of the main reasons. Two, my family lives in Hillsborough County. And Michelle's family lives in Pasco. So now we're super close to the family, both families, and we don't know how long this COVID-19 is going to affect local economies, jobs. Dade County was affecting restaurants. Like now at this time, I'm getting notifications from county commissioners that bars are going back to being very limited, if not closed. Bars, anywhere where you have customers or basically any businesses that can have customers in close proximity to each other. So a lot of local businesses were being affected. As I imagine, you at home, wherever your local county is, I'm sure it's being affected, if not more or less, or maybe not, depending on where you live in the U.S. or in the world. Really, but it has affected us very deeply in Dade County, so we made the move. So this podcast really is going to be dedicated to the move
and how we did it, and why we did it, and what are the benefits and cons that we've had. Right.
Financially,
yeah,
and maybe not financially. Some of the other.
I think at the end is probably we've gained some, we've lost some. Hopefully we've gained more than lost. Right. But I feel like we are in a better place now, even, environment wise or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so
let's talk about homes, mortgage. That's the easy one.
So we sold our house in Miami. Mm-hmm. And as most people already know, Miami is very expensive. You don't get much square foot for the price that you pay.
And property taxes too.
Crazy, where we were living, we were also paying CDD.
Right.
Because it was a newly developed area.
Right.
And surprise, that was to us at the beginning. Mm-hmm. The first year, because this had been dealt with CDD. Not the first time we dealt with new construction, time we dealt with CDD, and when we got it the first year we were there, we were blown away by it. Right. We're like, how are we going to afford this? How do we?
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I think we actually ended up refinancing.
We did. We financed it. We got better interest rate, and the term, the monthly payment was better. Yeah. But I don't think it was like where it just disappeared. We just became immune to it.
We just readjusted our budget at the time and just kept the ball rolling. So any chance that we could get to refinance again, which I think we did. A few years later again.
Yeah, we did. We did multiple. Look, the thing is with Dade County, like you said, you don't get the bang for your buck. You really don't. And if you do, you're paying top dollar. So where we're living, it was around 1,600 square foot, livable square foot, and we were paying as far as our monthly mortgage, which includes property taxes and homeowners insurance, around $2,200 a month.
No, I told you that amount was not correct. We were paying $2,100
Yeah.
plus $150 in association fees.
Oh, so that's not including yet,
so
right?
it's almost $2,300.
Almost 23 when you include the HOA.
Yeah.
The monthly HOA. So, and that's just a monthly mortgage. Property taxes, I think we
No,
last.
that was in the property.
No, I'm
tax
saying
was
annual.
included.
Annual property taxes around 7,000.
Yeah, something like that.
7,000, right? So we're talking about $7,000 for a space of 1,600 square feet in Dade County.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're living now, the home we closed last week, it's 500 square foot more, and we're paying how much less in mortgage monthly
Here?
payment? Yeah.
We are paying
How much less?
$1,600 now, so we're looking at almost $700.
$700. And
No.
the 16 includes $700. And the
$800. $750.
And that 1,600 that we're paying now in way. So we're talking 700.
$650. Sorry, we can't do the math right.
$650 in savings, monthly savings.
Mm-hmm.
For a bigger home. And the property taxes are even less. They're a couple thousand less.
Yeah.
So, and the way of life here is totally different. See, I grew up in Hillsborough County. I know you grew up in Dade County. For the folks at home,
Yep.
Michelle is born and raised Miami. I mean, even though me and her lived outside of Florida for a couple of years, we lived in Michigan for a while. That's her neighborhood, her backyard. Her bread and butter is Miami.
But I've always, even when what was it, back in 2007, we moved to your sister's in Lakeland, and I liked that area.
Yeah.
I liked the.
That's Polk County, yeah.
Right, but I mean, like, I like the
way of life there. It's slower.
It's slower. It's not.
It's more.
So,
It's less city-like.
Yeah.
And it's a truly peaceful environment. I think. I mean, it's totally different from Miami.
That's why I wonder, though, if living in New York, because remember at one point we actually considered Chicago and
we did.
New York.
We did.
This is
Oh
before,
my God.
probably before we had kids.
Yeah.
And
we did. Totally forgot.
And now that I think about it, we probably would have gone crazy in there.
Yeah.
Just because.
The hustle and bustle, man. It's too much.
Yeah.
I mean, look, for you folks,
expensive.
for folks that love that live for that, go for it. That's there. Miami has it. New York has it. Chicago. Those cities where you're on the move, that's good. I think our lifestyle is more laid back, more where you're not living, on top of your neighbor, and everywhere you go, you got to drive. Here, you got to drive it. Everything's 2 minutes away, 5 minutes away. Up in Miami. Everything, no matter where you go, no matter how close it is, it's half hour minimum.
Yeah.
Minimum.
So let's talk about the real estate market nowadays, like this year.
Okay.
So how lucky were we that we could sell our house?
We were lucky, but I think right now, it was the time. It's the time, man. It's truly the time, and I think you're blessed if you're able to sell and or buy a home. Because if you're buying a home, that means you have stable income, you have a job, you have employment, you're self-employed, whatever. So you're able to buy a home. If you can sell.
Yeah, but at the same time, you see, like for us, so there's two pieces to this. Number one, selling your home first, right?
Okay.
Selling the home was surprisingly good for us because how many times did we look at to see how much is the house worth now? Could we sell? Should we sell? No, let's not sell because they're gonna develop the area soon. And then we're gonna lose money on that. And the truth is cash is cash. It's easier if we just get it now.
Yeah.
So we were able to sell it. We put it we inflated the price so that we could at least negotiate to a price that we were comfortable with.
Right.
We got an offer within days
6 days. 6 days we were under contract.
Right, but we had people. Okay, so we had people coming in that same night.
That same day we had people scheduling visits to the home.
Right. It wasn't like little chirping crickets.
No, it was
on Zillow or whatever, realestate.com,
Yeah.
and it was already being seen.
Right.
So
we have to give credit though, real quick, a shout out to our real estate agent Yadi
she
Martinez.
did excellent.
With Keller Williams. She
went
is
above and beyond.
incredible real estate agent. There's probably not enough I can say. There's customer service, right? And then there's
above and beyond.
Yeah. She's above and beyond.
We had just one little minor hiccup down the road of our closing, but
that was
it would have been something we would have dealt with.
Yeah, it's nothing.
But she wrapped it up.
So real quick, just so the listeners can know, and they're like, I hope you're not talking bad about the realtor. She was excellent, man. So the original mortgage company. The original lender, here we go, I'm trying to wrap my mind around the details. The original lender, when they filed the mortgage with the county recorder's office, they ended up filing error. It's literally the same mortgage, it's different page numbers in the county recorder's office, but it's the same mortgage. So when we ended up refinancing, that lender filed a satisfaction of mortgage for only one of them because they assume there's only one mortgage. I only got to satisfy one mortgage. The problem is when we came down to close, the title company did a title search and said, hey guys, you have an outstanding mortgage there that needs to be satisfied.
A lien.
You have a lien. The mortgage serves as a lien.
Yeah.
So we're like, what are you talking about? No way, man. And the attorney who's doing the title search said, yeah. And he told us basically your lender accidentally filed the same mortgage twice. He says like in theory, it shouldn't be an issue. Legally and technically, it is. Because if that lender says, hey, we have a lien on it, look what's been filed. We never filed a satisfaction of mortgage for that mortgage. Technically, we have a lien on the property. Obviously, we would win that if we ever went to court because it was satisfied and we'll prove that it was done in error. But anyhow, we couldn't close for that. And she went, our realtor, fought with the lender and said, you better file a satisfaction of mortgage or these sellers can't sell their home. Long story short, we actually sold the home on the date that we were supposed to close. And then we dealt with that issue of the title a few days later. It's been resolved. And we were able to close, no problem.
The reason we were able to postpone it till after close was in exchange we left some money in the escrow.
Yeah, we had
for there to be an equal exchange.
Right.
And then we were able to resolve it within a few days like that.
Yeah.
But going back to the selling of the house, we had one offer, that one went down. For whatever reason, we still don't know. And luckily, we were able to get one of our old, one of the people that had come to see the house prior.
Right.
And they came in at full price.
Right.
So that worked great for us. And so we set up to close and everything. Mm-hmm. And then we started our search for a home here. And we found, I think what I want to say is that when I was looking for a house, mm-hmm. I was looking for the backyard. Like, I don't care how the house looks inside, I was looking for the backyard. And when I would look at the pictures, I fell in love with the backyard that we have because it's nicely landscaped, mm-hmm. With a gazebo on there.
It's beautiful.
And
it's beautiful.
A little trickery there though in the photo, because the photo shows that it looks like a large yard, but it's actually like slanted. Deep.
Right. So it's
cut off a little bit.
Right. So if you can picture a backyard, you would think it's either square or rectangle. Ours is like give me an angle, like a trapezoid, something where one of the corners is cut off.
It's not symmetrical.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So it's like one of the corners are cut off.
Right.
And the backyard's at an angle. You
know?
So it's like a triangle. There we go. Like a triangle.
Yeah, something like that.
Like one of the corners of the car.
So,
anyhow, so the pictures on Zillow and all these other realtors.com,
deceiving.
the pictures for the backyard are super deceiving. They make it seem like the backyard's super deep. When you come close, you're like,
there's only one side that's super deep and the other is short.
It's short, yeah. But overall, it's awesome. It's a beautiful house.
So there's this movie from Nicholas Spark, or a book. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's the time traveler's wife or time traveler or whatever. Time traveler's wife.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if it's that movie or not, but there's a movie where she, because it's most of the time it's
Rachel McAdams.
Rachel McAdams that plays them. Well, not most of the time. Anyhow, she was looking for a home with her husband. And every single time she would go into a house, she'd skip everything from the house and just go straight to the backyard.
Oh, really?
I got to look up which movie it was.
It may be the time traveler's wife.
It may be, because what she wanted was a little, like, she shed where she can go and paint. I may have the movie wrong.
It is that one. It is that one. I remember watching it.
That she has a she shed in the back?
It's an excellent movie.
Okay, so that was me, only digitally or virtually. I'm looking at pictures and I don't care what the rest of the house looks like. Yeah. I want the nice backyard.
Right. So you're the time traveler's wife then, basically.
So you're a time traveler?
I'm the time traveler. We got to watch that movie. It was an awesome movie when it first came out.
I read the book, but I don't remember.
Here's a funny thing. I know you read the book. You read it when we went to Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Crazy. Yeah, so, you read that book, and I read the one by Dan Brown.
Angels and Demons?
No, the one before that. Which one was it?
The Da Vinci Code?
Da Vinci Code, yeah. We read that when we went to Italy. But anyhow, real quick, going back to the house. Look, folks. This is my personal opinion from experience, from what we just went through. I truly believe this. Now, you have to believe what you believe, right? With conviction, man. You really have to believe it with passion. And you got to commit to whatever decision you make. If you truly believe that right now is your time to make a move, whether it be for a job or just in life, like you want to move geography, if you want to move to a different city or state, I truly believe our time was now. Like we've always talked about leaving Dade for a couple of years. We always talk about that. That wasn't going to be our resting place. And right now we could talk about the pros and cons. Right now, it seemed like there was no better time. School was out. I mean, we're doing homeschooling, but we didn't have to physically take them to school. Right. So we said, okay, school's not an issue. That shouldn't be an excuse. Oh, the kids are in school. We can't move yet.
You can work remotely.
You can. Well, before we go to school, because a lot of families. So if you're a family, you have kids. The kids can, a lot of your attention goes to the kids. A lot of decision making, you base it on the kids, right? Aside from your personal, whatever your wants and needs are, you first think about your kids and then you make a decision. So we couldn't use the kids being in school a reason not to move, right? Because they can do that anywhere. Mm-hmm. Even towards April, March, April, May, we had them at home doing homeschooling, right? So all we needed was internet. So that wasn't an excuse to stay. Your job, right, had all staff work remote. So all you needed really was internet. We couldn't use, I got to go to work tomorrow as an excuse not to move, right? Mm-hmm. I decided to leave the firm I was at and go back to working on my own, right? So now we couldn't use that as an excuse. Now these days, if you're if you're in the service industry, you can truly do everything from remote. Everything now should be online. Even lawyers do work online. I mean, nothing is where you need the brick and mortar. So now I couldn't use the excuse. I have to go to work tomorrow. You couldn't use it. The kids couldn't use it. Oh, they got school tomorrow. Yeah, but
right. But technically, on my part, I was gambling. Okay. With not having a job.
So let's talk about yours a little bit.
Because
so yours is more
because
serious.
At the end of the day, they could have told me, listen, we need you here physically.
Right.
Even though you're working remotely, we need you to be near us. Yeah. You can't be like traveling 5 hours.
Right. Or to a different state. Yeah. And just because you work remote, that means we're going to be okay with that, right?
Right. So I had to kind of come to terms with, if we make this decision, we have to, one, have a backup plan. And two, the other thing that was sitting in my mind was that in order for you to do you, either life pushes you to do it, right? Meaning life, circumstances put you in that position, or you put yourself in that position.
Right.
In this case, it was a little bit of both.
It was.
COVID put us in this situation, but at the same time, I went and put myself in the situation.
You did.
Because then at the end of the day, I thought, okay, if I don't have a job, I have no choice but to look for other means of income.
Yeah.
What would they be? Bookkeeping online, doing a Fiverr or whatever, or opening up an Etsy shop. And some of these things have come into fruition. We've opened up an Etsy shop. We're doing this podcast. The podcast was way before even COVID was prominent, was big, because we started, I think, January 1st. At least with our process, not knowing that COVID was going to become what it's become now. And we started a Productive Bunch channel on YouTube. A lot of these things we haven't been able to do them now because of the circumstance. So we had to kind of go through a little valley, for lack of better words, in order for us to get back to our new place, our new permanent place. So long story short, I think what I had was leverage with my company, or with my employer, and with a little bit of confidence in my voice, I was able to say, hey, look, we've been for many years we've been talking about moving up north. The opportunity has presented itself. The kids are, they're remotely doing school. I need help, or we need help, because, just like everybody else, dealing with having to work remotely and be at home with the kids, it's not easy.
No, it's not.
So we're like, I need my parents' help. And because in some shape or form, my parents came up here because, one, they were looking for help for my grandmother, my aunt, who lives in Pasco as well. I believe that my parents were moving up here because you and I had also been talking about moving up to Central Florida as well. So having the hope that we were going to move, and sure enough, here we are. So in explaining that to my employer, they were on board without a doubt. I mean, they just jumped on and they said, we'll talk about it every 6 months just to reevaluate to see if it's working. So far it is. At the same time, nobody's actually gone to the office except maybe one or two people. And the way it's looking right now, COVID is still going on, and it will be going on through the remainder of the year.
In our county, we're probably the leading county in the country, Dade County. So that just what it does is it gives me time, or gives us time, to come up with a plan B, because what you don't want is to sit comfortable again. No. In what was comfortable then. So that the end plan is not for me to continue working, or at least not to rely on 100% on working with my employer. The idea is that this should be, a supplement, and we should find something to become our main income source. So, with all that being said, we've looked for ways of bringing in more money, doing other things.
Other things.
So and we could talk about that. We've done some things, and we've done podcasts on the things that we gave advice on, and we actually done some of them.
We've sold stuff.
We've sold. Okay. So look. Two things. One thing before we move off from this subject here. So to put things in perspective and into context. So Michelle is a CFO of what I believe it's a large corporation.
Not for profit.
It's a not for profit, but you have over close to 500 employees. I mean, it's pretty large. It's not a small mom and pops. It's a pretty big operation. 500 employees, and she's the CFO of the company. So she has a big role to fill in this company, and here we are trying to relocate. So It's not like she was maybe, entry level or something like that where she can be easily replaced. Not saying that she can't. She can. Look, anybody's replaceable.
Absolutely.
Any positions. Look, the top company CEOs can be replaced, and they do every so often. So, but you have a lot of responsibility, and we still made the move. Like I said, it goes back to, if you're ever going to decide to do a jump, you got to do it with commitment.
I think just as a sidebar,
and just do it.
I think the reason why my employer or my boss or two bosses were, or maybe three bosses because there's so many I have, why they were on board with this change is because there was already almost a month or two of a trial and run where everybody, because I'm pretty sure that the rest of the finance team contributed to the yes on my side.
Right.
Because if the finance team is working efficiently, then that's a reflection of me.
Right.
And if I'm working efficiently, then that means there really isn't a big problem. Right. I'm pretty sure we're going to find little mishaps here and there because, the situation just is not going to be perfect.
Right.
But I think that makes a huge difference. It made a huge difference when it came to saying yes or no on you can stay on or you can't. Right.
But so, one of the things that we talked about in the podcast, one of the episodes, we talked about selling things. I mean, we did one where we talked about like 10, 13, 15
Right, so
things.
Let's talk about what items we sold.
What did we do?
Our sofa.
So we sold a lot of household
some of the
items
furniture,
on Let Go on Facebook, and we made money.
Yeah.
Look at things that
we're still selling stuff.
And we're still selling stuff. So folks, we did it because A, it's one way of making some money, and two, to get rid of some of the stuff that you just don't use, that you've accumulated.
And then in a way to actually fund the few expenses or couple of expenses that we've had for move, because we've also made changes to this house.
Right. Right.
So some of the money that we made from the other house, plus the money that we're making from selling our items, we're kind of trying to offset those expenses. And at the same time, we've been talking for a while already about using that money, deciding on, do we use it to pay debt or do we use it to buy another rental property?
Right.
And I think the last thing that we left off was with rental property. So we're holding that money right now. Once we kind of get situated here pretty well, then we can start our next real estate investment search. And then there's where we can invest the gains that it's not even gains from the house. It's actually equity of the house because we had already kind of paid that down. So that's another way that we've somewhat recovered or gains or losses that we've had.
So we sold the house at a good price. We got some equity out of it.
There's been a few times that I've mentioned to you that it's really important to have multiple income streams.
Yes.
And for a while, we talked about, you've told me that you don't want to get something started and then not finish. I agree with you 100%. Because it's like the YouTube channel that we started, and I don't want to say that I've kind of put it on, that I'm not going back to it, or we're not going back to it. We're going into it again now because you've been doing footage.
Right.
However, I think that it's important to test the waters with the other things.
For sure.
And find multiple ones. It depends. I think it's all in perspective and how you manage it. You see how now we started the Etsy. And we're kind of figuring out how it works.
Right.
And we're seeing, okay, maybe we could make some money off of this.
Right.
We just have to put a little bit of time into it.
Right.
Whereas with the YouTube or any other kind of
long term.
It's long term, right? It's not something that happens overnight.
Right.
It happens probably 1 to 3 years. If you're lucky, 1 year. If you're patient, 3 years.
But if you have a good strategic plan, though, you can monetize. I mean, look,
immediately, and that's why I'm saying it.
There's things you can do. There's things you can do, So I get what you're saying. I see the angle. I see where you're going at with this. That A, you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
B, no matter what endeavor you choose to do, it's not going to be overnight success.
Right.
It's going to take work. Some more than others.
Right.
But you need to, at a mandatory, you at least need to
have a plan.
Have multiple streams of income.
Right, and I think you need to kind of write them out.
You write them out, have some goals,
and put it there where it's like. I mean, we did that,
mm-hmm.
and I think we got them kind of folded up. We need to put them back up again now.
We do.
Granted, the reason why we haven't had them up is because we just now recently finally moved to our final place.
Right.
But it is important to have it open, because then you start to look at it and say, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm going to focus on after. This is what I'm going to focus on, maybe through a certain period of time. Have, I guess, a plan where you could have a plan where you say, like, Mondays, I'm going to do Etsy. Tuesdays, I'm going to look at stocks, because we're also doing that.
Right.
Wednesdays, we're going to look at doing a video for the kids for Productive Bunch.
Fridays,
the podcast. That, so that you can start to schedule.
Where it becomes routine.
Exactly. And then now those are considered your multiple income streams.
Right.
Another day where you're focusing, like, say, Saturdays are Etsy days. Those are the days that I would sit down and
discuss
do the designs and look at the website. And I mean, some of the things can be done on a daily basis, like check your YouTube stats, check your podcast stats, check your Etsy information, check all that. And those are like little minuscule routines that you would have to do.
Right. You and I are on the same page, 100%. And look, before we did the move, sometimes things got to give. So before we did the move, I think before 2 months, look, within 60 days, we had over 50 videos uploaded to our Productive Bunch YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Over 50, I want to say, within 60 days.
And then we dropped completely.
And then when we first, it's because we moved. I mean, we did a life-changing event. We moved in the middle of a pandemic.
But I think you need to bring to light that the reason we didn't do much in those 2 months is because no,
we needed space. We didn't have space. I mean, we
didn't have space.
We didn't have space, man. If we had more space. Look, we lived with her temporarily, and thank God we had a place to stay. We lived with Michelle's parents for 2 months. No, without them, it would have been tough to move. So we moved knowing we had a place to stay temporarily while we sold our house and bought a new one. But we didn't have our own space. It's like me, you, and the kids lived in one room.
Right.
And they still had school.
No, but they only had school for a couple of days. The problem is that how can you confine 2 kids in one room?
2 boys. Yeah, you can. They need to go out, ride their bike. They need space to go run.
It's not like now where we're at home and they're in the living room and we know they're safe in the house and they could be running around. They're not breaking stuff because we try not to have like anything that can break easily or whatever.
Right.
They have enough room inside as much as outside to run.
Right.
So if they want to goof around with their toys, they've got their toys with them. Yeah. Here we were all in one small room with very little of our items.
Right.
Because all of our stuff was in storage.
Right.
And then
we couldn't
we're
go out,
expecting them to.
No, but now we couldn't go out. Look.
Yeah.
Things here in Pasco. A lot of things are not running at full capacity. You can't go to movies, you can't go to restaurants, but they're not at full capacity.
Right.
So we live with your parents who are.
Oh, that was another thing because 60, you didn't want to jeopardize that.
Right. So we didn't want to catch COVID, come back home and get your parents sick, and God forbid something happened to them. We just couldn't risk that.
Right.
So we didn't go out. We didn't do much for those 2 months.
We did mostly driving around.
Yeah, we just drove around. We got the kids in the car and we drove around and came back.
Yeah.
but we didn't go inside of a store or anywhere else just because we just couldn't do it. But that's why we stopped YouTube. We stopped the podcast. I think we had over 20 something episodes before we stopped cold turkey because of the move.
Yeah.
And now we're back. So folks, look, even if you have ideas, things you want to do, and there's a life-changing event that stops you, doesn't mean you can't come back. You just have to refocus, write down the things that you want to do or that you were doing, see the vision, because sometimes the vision can become blurry because life does that to you.
Right.
You know, you still got to deal with life and your responsibilities in life. But you just deal with it. You deal with it as life, things come, and you continue focused on the plan, whatever that is for you. And we're gonna come back on it. More episodes. We got a new member in our family.
Yes. Good old Luna.
Luna, she's a sheepadoodle.
You want to tell them how we got her?
Yeah, so I'm actually we're gonna post a video on our Productive Bunch YouTube channel. That
came
talks
from
about
all the way from South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah, she's a southerner.
Mm-hmm. A Southern belle.
A Southern belle, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, she's we got her from a breeder, South Carolina. We were put on a waiting list because these are special breeds.
And I really didn't think that we were gonna get her that quick. We got her the same week that we closed.
Yeah, man. Look.
Or we got confirmation of her the same week that we closed, and we got her the following Monday.
Right, man. I mean, we thought we were gonna be on a waiting list for months. Who knows? With everything going on.
But what we wanted, what was our first?
I think the first one was a Bernedoodle.
And then second was a sheepadoodle.
And then third was a golden doodle?
Maybe.
And then a labradoodle. No?
I can't remember. In my mind, I just
Irish
had those
doodle?
two, maybe.
So this breeder does like all the doodles. Like everyone you can think of, this breeder does it. And they have kennels throughout the U.S. But you put down your preferences, Bernedoodle, male, female, color, this and that.
How do we come to picking her? Because initially our preference was a Bernedoodle, and I don't know if you've seen a Bernedoodle. I know you've seen them because you've seen the pictures, but our listener,
they're beautiful.
They're just this coat of black and white. They come in different colors,
different colors, yeah, but they're beautiful,
the
man.
Black and white, just they look so.
Just imagine
it's a Bernese dog, mountain dog, right?
The Bernedoodle, yeah.
Yeah, mixed with a poodle. And we were thinking a male, so we were thinking of naming him Waffles, because I liked the name Waffles, and our son, Lucas, our youngest, loves to eat waffles.
Yeah, and he
thought he was going to eat.
And he actually came up with the name Waffles, though.
No, I think it was me.
Was it you?
You
influenced him? You said,
him,
hey, you like waffles? And he's like, yeah, I like waffles. So
yeah.
You tricked them then. You played with them.
So then they came back and they said, the sheepadoodle.
It's ready.
And then
here's a litter.
When we look, they're all girls.
Right. The boys, look, within 12 hours of us getting an email, we got the email, and I didn't check my email until like 12 hours later.
Yeah.
And all the boys were already selected. So it was only the girl dogs that were not selected. And
so as we're going through them, we're like, putting their names on a piece of paper, and then putting them as preference. This one, number 2. And so the one we got, her name was Paisley. Paisley, yeah. And so we named her. We came up with a bunch of names.
Talk about how we named her.
So we came up with
Look, we came up with like a dozen names.
Yeah, and so then we came up with Stormy, because we were trying to keep it with like Star Wars theme for Stormtroopers, since she was black and white, or all of them were black and white. It wasn't resonating with me so much. So anyhow, we went on Productive Bunch and did a poll, and the one that won was
So here's funny thing, man. We have a Facebook page. It's called Productive Bunch, and it's where we put all our Productive Bunch content. And we decided, hey, let's do a poll. Let's pick, a dozen of our favorite names, and let's see what the people decide, what our friends decide, So we did a poll, and overwhelmingly majority selected Luna.
And I think it was meant to be, because both our kids their names start with the letter L.
Right. Liam and Lucas and
I I don't know if I told you this, but I told my dad this. I said, listen, if we get her, because I think at that point we knew that we were going to get her. Or no, we didn't, because we just submitted her name, or we submitted the request for her. Yeah,
right, our preferences. 1,
so
2, and 3.
I said, this is my one chance to get the girl that I never had.
That's true. That's true.
So
That's true.
she's my little baby girl.
And
she's here right now. So if you hear some
sniffing and breathing, that's her. She's here in the room
with
here.
smelly breath.
But listen, she's beautiful, man. Beautiful. Check if you want to see pictures of her. Check her out on on Productive Bunch Facebook page, or check her out on our YouTube. I'm gonna put a video up of her on our Productive Bunch YouTube channel, and check us out. But anyhow, folks, I think we've been rambling for quite some time on this.
Hopefully, we gave you some ideas for how to save or make money.
Yeah, I mean, look, folks, the point of today's episode is to really tell you where we've been, because we've been off the grid for a little bit, and to tell you we're back, and we're going to be putting out content every week on Money Talks, our podcast. But it's mainly to reinforce that, look, truly, and this is cliche. She's playing with the toy. This is cliche, but it's still truth. That whatever you want to do, you put your mind to it, you can do it. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be easy, but if you want to do it, you'll do it. And here's something to always think about. If it's been done by someone else, why can't you do it? And some of you may say, "Oh, you moved in the middle of the pandemic, big deal." But I mean, it's crazy, man. What we just did in the last 2 months is really, really short of a miracle, I think. I mean, we've done some crazy things. So, folks, look out for our episodes. We're going to be putting them out every week. Personal finance and everything, managing a household and everything in between. If there's anything that you would like to see in any upcoming episodes
or hear,
please leave that in the comments section. Please like this video and please subscribe. One other thing, I know the stimulus check, we did a couple episodes. We're going to do a new one because Congress is working at it again. Look out for that one. That's probably going to be a big one we're going to do. Okay? So stay safe and God bless.
God bless.